Welcome, one and all, to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian Show. Along with Zach Meisel, I'm Adam the Bull, and the Battle of the Ohio Cup begins today. Zach, what did you do special to get ready for this monumentous weekend in the Battle of the Ohio Cup?
I'll tell you what I'm not going to do, and that is ever eat Skyline chili.
Ooh, that's fighting words. I've never had it either. We'll discuss that and a whole lot more on the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian. There we go. Skyline chili. Is it really that bad? Have you ever had it?
I have. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. The things don't go together. It's just not.
Do we have something in Cleveland that we eat that other people are like, I'm not eating that crap? I feel like we don't have that specific thing.
Yeah, maybe we need it. We're missing that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe that's what's
get a
keeping us
food
down.
that is like specific. This you go to Cleveland, you got to me. When people say when it comes to food, believe it or not, and I love a lot of restaurants, but when people come to Cleveland, obviously we have visitors because we're not from here originally. So in fact, we have some friends coming next weekend who have never been here before. Well, one of them has, but the rest of the family has never been here before. And I always think like the one place I have to take them to in terms of food is Mitchell's.
Ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I love it. It's just that's not unique.
It's not. No, it's not unique. I don't say it for that reason. It's just it's unique. Well, it is unique in the way that I think it's the best ice cream I've ever had. Okay. I've never had any better ice cream, and I'm not eating ice cream these days, but I've had plenty of ice cream in my life, and I've had it everywhere I've ever been. Everywhere I go visit or whatever, I'm always trying ice cream, and I don't think I've never had anything better than Mitchell's. To me.
Do you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
We have family in town.
Yeah.
This weekend for my son's 4th birthday. I kid you not, the timestamp shows up on my computer. Like my sister who's in town texted me at 8:33, literally while you're talking.
Yeah.
And the text says, I need Mitchell's at some point.
You're kidding.
She lives in Chicago. So
oh my God, that is so funny. You got it. See? Look at that. Great minds think alike. So she obviously she grew up here, but she hasn't lived here in a while.
Correct. So yeah, what am I supposed to say? Like, yeah, you can get ice cream anywhere. No,
you take it to Mitchell's. So like obviously, like Cincinnati's got their chili, as crappy as that is. It's their thing. New York's got the pizza. Chicago, to me, even though I'm not a huge fan, it's the they're what's that beef? I can't remember what they call it. There's like a roast beef sandwich type of thing.
Yeah.
Famous. I don't even
Chicago they've got a few things. I
mean, they do have a few things. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking too, like when you walk into Progressive Field, if you're touring ballparks or something, where are you making a beeline for? Do we have that famous? I mean, is it like the hot dog with Fruit Loops or whatever? Like, what's our thing?
One guy in the chat said stadium mustard, but mustard can't be your thing. Just mustard.
Yeah.
We need a thing. Like, I think some people
might go to Wrigley, you get a Chicago dog.
Yeah. Right.
Dodger dog.
I don't know. I feel like maybe we need to start that. You could have convinced me 10 years ago that maybe it was like melt in a grilled cheese. But obviously
pierogies, is that?
But I just think like Cleveland. Doesn't Milwaukee isn't that pierogies too? I mean, like any place that has a lot of Polish people or people of Polish origin are going to have. I love pierogies, but I don't know. I don't think we have a specific thing, and we got a good food scene. I mean, Cleveland has a very good food scene comparatively. Especially compared. I think we hang in there nicely with cities that are bigger and maybe have more. Overall choices because the cities are bigger, but we do a lot of type of food as well. I don't think we're great on Asian style foods overall, but there's a couple of places. But for the most part,
what's the worst thing about being a West Sider? All that good stuff's on the East Side.
In terms of Asian food?
Yeah, I grew up spoiled, and I didn't even realize it. And then
Yeah,
you look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
West, and there's just not much.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's true. Yeah, there is. But what town do you live in? I forgot.
I'm in Avon.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you're way out.
Hmm.
I'm close enough. I'm not as far suburban as you. You're in an outer ring suburb, an outer ring. I'm in the inner ring. I
We're
think.
far.
Yeah. Is Rocky River considered an inner ring? I don't know. I mean, Lakewood's west of us. I mean, east of us.
I'm
But
still new at this. I don't know
yeah, I don't know. I love. Yeah, but the west side has a major advantage. It's much easier to get around on the west side than on the east side.
for sure.
So anyway, all right, let's talk some baseball. I could talk food all day.
We could do. Do you want to talk about the Browns' schedule? Do you want to talk about the Cavs? There's a lot.
Well, the Browns schedule game will probably play on the big show today. We will obviously talk
Guardians schedule game with their remaining 117 games.
Wait, say it again.
Do you want to
do the Guardians schedule
Guardians
game?
schedule? Yeah.
I mean, we could. Yeah, that would be very fruitless.
What do they need? Of their final 117, how many wins do they need?
I think
63?
Let's see. They have 24 wins now. Would 84 wins get you in the playoffs in the AL Central?
In this division, maybe.
Maybe. I think they've got how many games left? 120? No.
117.
117. I mean, they could win 62, 63, and I think they probably win the division.
What's more surprising to you?
Yeah.
That they have the third best record in the American League.
Right.
That they would have a first round bye if the playoffs started today.
Yeah.
Or that the team nipping on their heels is the Chicago White Sox.
It's interesting. I thought the White Sox would be a little better this year. Now, I did not think they'd be in second place. So I'll ultimately say that's the biggest surprise. I thought the White Sox would move out of the dreck this year. Now, so far, they've done better than that. They're, 500, right? Or game over 500.
Game over, yeah.
So I'll say that's the most surprising. But they're all kind of surprising. I mean, being the 2 seed, yeah. I mean, I would have thought somebody in the West would have a good record, but they don't. I mean, it's amazing that 3 games over 500 is the third best record. It is wild.
Yeah. And also that Tampa has the best record in the American League is surprising as well. So everything feels flipped upside down. You look at the Central, the Tigers and Royals tied 6 games under 500. So that's this feels. We said it last week. I think I said, can you go 7-2 on this homestand against 3 medium to lousy teams?
Yeah,
and get some separation while Scooble's out. The Tigers have like 15 guys on their injured list. So
the Guardians lost the first 2 games, and now they've won 4 in a row. Obviously,
yeah. So a disappointing weekend against the Twins.
Yeah,
took care of business against the Angels, and I just think this is still a stretch, especially since you get the Tigers for 4 games in Detroit next week. Where, look, the Guardians erased a 15.5 game deficit last summer, so it's not like I can say you can put anybody away in May, but give yourself a little breathing room and create some separation here and kick the Tigers while they're down. It's Tigers are in an interesting spot because I feel like they have no choice but to go for it. I guess I don't think they're going to, even if Scooble gets back and he's healthy and the Tigers are out of it, do you see a scenario where they would trade him?
No, because at this point, especially let's say he comes back 2 weeks before the deadline, his value is going to be what nobody's giving you a haul for him as good as he is. It's just they might as well just go for it. Now, I guess the only way I could see a trade is if they're completely dead and buried. If they have no shot of making the playoffs.
Which in the AL Central, it's
unlikely. But what if they're 20 games under 500? Again, I don't think that's going to happen. But
at least push them toward that and make them think about things.
Yeah.
Make him think why am I rushing back if we're
right? Because there's no chance he's re-signing with them. I mean, that's gone. That possibility, if there ever was one, is gone. So, I mean, it's a chance now for the Guardians to really take advantage. They're one of only 4 teams that have a positive run differential in the American League. The Yankees are plus 69. The Rays are plus 22. The Mariners, who are under 500, are plus 16. And the Guardians are plus 4. So it's just been weird. And by the way, the NL Central remains, every team is still over 500. Hopefully that will change at the end of this weekend because that would mean the Guardians swept the Reds. But I wonder, since they've gone to this format of 6 divisions, the latest into the season, that all 5 teams in a division have been over 500.
Hmm.
I wonder what that is. There's probably been one that went into the summer, and I'm just not thinking of it or whatever. But
It's pretty wild just how many teams in general have a negative run differential. Like in the NL West, 4 teams have a negative. In the
yeah,
NL East, 4 teams have a negative. In the AL Central, 4 teams have a negative. And so I just wonder, like, I mean, I guess it's pretty top heavy, right? Like the Braves have been awesome.
yeah,
The Dodgers are the Dodgers, even if their record maybe isn't as good as we thought it would be. The Cubs have been great. Brewers have been great. So it's really strange.
yeah. You have
Really weird year.
you have 10 teams with a plus run differential, and 4 of the 10 are in the NL Central.
Hmm.
Which, like, if before the season, if you said which division would have that, you would have said the AL East first, and your second choice probably is the NL East. But it's
The NL Central actually looks about what I thought, except for the Cardinals.
yeah, they're right. The NL Central was not like the AL Central. I didn't think it was going to be bad because I thought the Pirates. I thought the Pirates were going to be a lot better. I never count out the Brewers. The Reds are, a feisty team. The Cardinals are the biggest shocker. I still think they'll finish under 500 by the time I think they'll finish in last by the time the season's over. But I think the other 4. I mean, we know the Cubs and Brewers are finishing well over 500. But I think the Reds and Pirates are both going to finish over 500, or at worst around 500. But I think when it's all said and done, the Cardinals will be under 500. But they've played. Give them credit. I mean, they've done a nice job. They've gotten some good pitching from guys like Michael McGreevy and obviously Riley O'Brien, their closer. Jordan Walker, who's been a prospect for a number of years, has kind of finally put it together. Nathan Church, another young outfielder, has been good for them. I could go on and on about all these freaking teams, but let's not do that. Let's get to the Guardians.
You're a sicko.
Yeah.
I think, the Reds are limping in, right? Like I believe they're 3-10 in their last 13 games. They can't hit.
Except for their last game. They scored 15.
They scored 15, yeah. But
yesterday and the day before. But before that, they've actually scored in the game before against the Nats, they scored 7 in a loss. So they've gotten 22 runs in their last 2 games. But before that, it was 4-5, 3-0, 3, 6, 2, 4, 0. Like they were 1, 2. They had not scored. The last couple of games against the Nats got them maybe right. But they've had issues in their lineup big time.
They're 3-10 against teams with a winning record.
Yeah.
Before last night, their run differential was -40. Yeah. My point is just, this is a series, if the Guardians want us to take them seriously, and I have been. I keep saying this. I never feel this way. I think this is actually a team that has the potential to be really good. And like, my brother-in-law was asking me last night. He's a diehard White Sox fan who's having the time of his life right now, and he was asking me about the Guardians, and I said, you know what? I really think that like this is a team that could lose to the Yankees in the ALCS. Like it feels like one of those years.
Yeah.
And I was being sort of facetious, like who knows what'll happen and who will emerge as the top AL team. But like I think it's in there, and I think they'll get better as they go. And they've shown us signs that are encouraging. But like you got to win a series like this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I can't demand they sweep every home series, but win 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
I'd love a sweep, but take 2 out of 3. It's not like the Reds are a bad team; they're an okay team that's not playing great. But to your point, Zach, yesterday on the Big Show, I said, obviously there's some holes and some guys not playing well, but overall, I feel better about their lineup than I have in a number of years.
Yeah. Since like Lindor was here?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time. And the reason is obviously Chase DeLauder's been really good. I love what I'm seeing from Travis Bazzana. I'm glad you ripped was it Bet Jack that put out that stupid tweet?
Yeah, you won't be hearing from them anymore.
Idiots. I just like I love the fact, and again, just like they were stupid for making that comment too early, I'm not going to go over the top the other way too early. But he's so smart at the plate. You could tell he's got a good eye. Like for him to have, again, it's early and maybe in 2 weeks he'll be under 200. Who the hell knows? But for him to have a 400 on base this early in his career, like it tells you something.
The thing, I just inherently expect a rookie hitter to come up for the first time and swing at everything.
Yeah.
You're trying to prove yourself, you're
Right.
pressing, you're nervous, you're facing the toughest pitching you've ever faced. They're going to attack you, and we see it with every hitter. Like I remember Kyle Manzardo came up his first month in 24, and he was a guy who always had a good walk rate in the minors. He was a patient hitter, came up and was just flailing at everything. Went back down, came up later that year and was a much more better equipped hitter.
Yep.
This year, it's like every rookie was made in a lab, whether it's McGonigal, Bazzana, DeLauder, Weatherholt. These guys they all have great plate discipline, and it's just so impressive because you don't typically see that from a young hitter. Even if that's like one of your top qualities, it takes a while for that to bear fruit in the majors. So it's incredibly impressive that Bazzana's come up and done that. We've talked about how DeLauder went through a quiet spell for a few weeks in April, but even when he wasn't hitting, he was drawing walks, putting the ball in play. That's what this team does well. They rank 4th in the majors in walk rate.
Yeah.
They have the 3rd lowest strikeout rate. So they're drawing walks, putting the ball in play. By the way, they rank 2nd in stolen bases. So this is like guards ball.
Yeah.
Like evolved guards ball. I almost said guards ball on steroids, but that's the problem here is they're not hitting enough home runs. You need like Manzardo and Hoskins and Jose to hit for more power to cash in all those base runners that you're getting on. And obviously you need more from Stephen Kwan, but I still believe you're going to get all of that.
I agree.
In some form. And that's why I'm so encouraged, because the walk rate, maybe they don't end up 4th in the majors, but like, this is who Bazzana is. This is who DeLauder is.
Yeah.
Even Rhys Hoskins, he hasn't hit yet, but he's drawing crazy number of walks.
Yeah.
That's not going to go away.
I agree. By the way, Jose on pace for like 70 something steals. I mean, I don't think he'll keep up that pace, but
and that's without hitting.
Yeah. I mean, he's batting 207. Let's talk about Kwan a little bit, because I have zero concern about Jose, and Manzardo's been slowly getting better. And I know Kwan got on base 2 times his last game and got a hit, but Angel Martinez has been the leadoff spot the last 2 games. No, I'm sorry. He's homered the last 2 games. He was in the leadoff spot the last game. They gave Kwan a day off.
Yep.
I said yesterday on the big show, I'd give Kwan another day off today. That would be 3
facing a lefty. So
3 days off in a row, facing a lefty, give him a breather. And then I'd bring him back and I would drop him in the lineup. And here's why. Because they've given him a long leash this year, because he has a proven track record over 3 years of being a mostly reliable hitter and a very good leadoff hitter. Now, Angel Martinez is obviously not your typical leadoff hitter. He's not a big walk guy. I love the idea of putting Travis Bazzana in the leadoff spot, but I'm guessing they won't do that.
But why? DeLauder
Yeah.
hit second on opening day.
Yeah. Then maybe they should. Don't you think he'd be a great leadoff hitter?
His on-base percentage is 407.
Yeah.
And he already has 7 stolen bases. He'd be perfect.
Exactly. That's what I would do. For some reason, I feel like they're going to be hesitant, but I'm glad you're with me on this. I would let's go. Let's have DeLauder, Bazzana, and Jose getting the most trips to the plate. They're your 3 best players. And then Manzardo, drop Kwan. I think to me, like, maybe that would help him, because I feel like some of this is in his head. I think he's in his head, and drop him in the lineup, take some pressure off. I hope they do that. I don't know. Do you think they might?
I think I solved it yesterday talking through this.
Yeah.
I've been in favor of dropping him for Bazzana for a week or so.
Good. Yeah.
But I asked the question, and I was thinking, what does that actually do for a hitter? Because when you walk to the plate in the 4th inning, you're not thinking, I'm batting 7th and the 6th hitter is up now. And like, that doesn't matter, right? It matters to start the game because you
Yeah.
know you're the first one to see this pitcher. Here's the thing. Kwan's issue, according to every coach that I've talked to
Yeah.
in recent weeks, is they want him to be more aggressive. He swings at the first pitch 9% of the time.
Oof.
The
Yeah.
league average is 30%.
Yeah.
So if you're a pitcher, what are you doing on the first pitch?
Right down the
Throwing,
middle.
yeah, throw a
Yeah.
strike. He's not swinging.
Yeah.
So, okay, he's down 0-1. And then
Not to mention, Zach, sorry to cut you off, but with Kwan in particular, you're throwing it right down the middle because you know that even if he does swing, it's probably not going to be a home run.
Exactly.
Not going to be, if you do get beat, it's not going to be for a home
the
run.
worst that could happen is it's a single, right?
Yeah.
And so after that, what are they doing? They're just throwing away. And it's the same idea. It's that like the best thing he can do on a pitch away, and he did this to lead off a game the other day against the Angels, is he just drives it to left field for a single. But if he can't do that, because that's hard to do, it's going to be an out. It's going to be a foul tip. It's going to be a swing or and a miss. It's like there's not much he can do productive on pitches like that, and pitchers are just not giving into him. If you look at the heat map of where pitchers are throwing to him, it's all outside.
Right.
So the way to counteract that is twofold. One, just prove you can consistently hit that for a base hit to left field.
Yeah.
Or two, somehow you have to get ahead in the count
Yeah.
to get the pitches you want.
Yes.
And to do that, you can't take strike one every single time. So they've said you got to be aggressive. Well, it's hard to do that and change who you are when every time you come to the plate to start a game, there's nobody on base. The pitcher gets to dictate how that's going to go, right? But what if he's hitting seventh?
Yeah.
What if he's hitting behind some guys who are getting on base and he comes up to the plate more with traffic? Pitchers can't just nibble and throw off the plate away.
Yeah.
They've got to throw more strikes to get ahead. So if you're coming up to the plate, if you're Kwan, you definitely can't take a first pitch strike every time because there's runners to get home.
Yeah, that's a good
and
point.
you know pitchers are going to attack you from the get-go because they can't afford to walk you. So to me, it dawned on me like they have to do this. They have to put him lower in the lineup so he comes up more with guys on base. So it forces him to be aggressive and not fall behind in counts all the time. And so, yeah, Bazana is the answer to me.
Yeah.
And you stack him and Ramirez and DeLauder. Maybe that helps Ramirez too because there's guys on base more.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like Stephen Vogt, we could read into it his post-game comments from the other day.
Yeah.
And you could maybe convince yourself that the lineup will look different tonight. I also don't. There's a lefty on the mound.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe they'll keep Martinez hitting first, and then they'll go back to Kwan tomorrow. Like anything's on the
we got
table at this point, but it's definitely worth on.
There you go. You froze up for a second. I think we got you back. You there, Zach? We're having some technical difficulties. Let's pop Zach out for a second. Now we'll pop him back in. Maybe that'll clear it up. Zach, there you go. You're back. I think. Are you back?
How you doing? I'm here.
Okay, you're there. It will be interesting to see. You're right, and it's not going to tell the whole story tonight because they are facing the lefty. The pitching matchup, as you said, will be Tanner Bybee against Andrew Abbott. Abbott's got a 4.47 ERA and a 151 WHIP so far this year. His last start, though, he pitched well. In fact, his last two starts, three really, he got off to a terrible start. He had a 6.59 ERA after a start against the Tigers on April 24th. But his last three starts, he's gone 17 2/3, allowed 12 hits, 2 runs, 7 walks, and had 14 strikeouts. So he's been a lot better his last 3 starts, especially his last 2. He hasn't given up any runs in his last 2 starts. So,
well, if you can get this one,
you
get Chris Paddock and Brady Singer the next 2 days. They've been horrendous.
He was cut by the Marlins. That's how bad he is. Getting back to the lineup, though, for a minute, like I'm thinking about, obviously Manzardo's not playing every day like we thought he'd be in the beginning of the year. That's because of his slump. And they need to find at bats, obviously, for Angel Martinez. He needs to be playing. I mean, right at this point, he's got to be playing almost every day. Schneemann has earned at bats. So when you look at the team right now, obviously we got a long way to go before the trade deadline, but they already made a trade, and we're going to get into that with Patrick Bailey because that happened after we did the show last week. As the team is currently constituted, do you still think they need one more bat? Because I do at some point. I'm not sure where, but I think they're going to need one more bat.
Yeah, but I think the position depends on, like, right now, I think they need power.
Yes.
Right now, Rhys Hoskins and Kyle Manzardo are supposed to supply that for you, but they have a combined 5 home runs. So if they get on track, then maybe I'm looking elsewhere. But I think that's the spot right now. First base DH type or any position, because you can move anybody to DH.
Right.
But I think they're one power bat short, but I would still want to give those guys time to figure it out.
Have you started thinking about who that power bat could be?
No, but maybe you have.
I just want to see before I say something crazy, because this is crazy and it's not going to happen. I just want to look at this guy's contract for a minute.
Mike Trout, 4 years, $150 million.
It's funny that you say that because that's who I was thinking of. But I
think really?
Yeah. If I don't know why I was thinking he had less years left. Obviously, they're not going to do that. But I don't know. I'm just getting a little crazy because they haven't done a move.
He'd be perfect, by the way.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, just think for a second, and I shouldn't do this because it's just such a cruel tease. But
Go ahead.
But can you think for a second? Let's say Manzardo and Kwan got right.
Yeah.
And you had, whatever.
Move Pizana back out of the leadoff spot.
Yeah. You got Manzardo at first, Kwan at second. Pizana at second, Rocchio at short, Ramirez at third, Kwan in left, Trout in center, Angel Martinez in right. Hoskins is your DH.
Chase DeLauter traded for Trout.
That's 2 days in a row that I had a brain fart on Chase DeLauter. Sorry, Chase DeLauter at right, and then either Angel Martinez or Rhys Hoskins at DH. Okay. Then that's
who are you trading? First of all, Paul Dolan would have a heart attack if you showed him Mike Trout's salary.
Yeah. Who am I trading?
But David Blitzer might not.
Great question. Who right now?
It's a tricky one because from the Angels' perspective, like, they needed to trade Trout years ago.
Yeah.
Trout should have demanded a trade years ago. It's really weird. I think this is he's 34 this year.
He's playing great.
He is playing great, and he fits the Guardians profile perfectly because he draws a ton. Like, the on-base percentage is 410. Yeah. He's got 11 home runs. It's Mike Trout. He's still good. Like, what do you pay for a guy who, in a lot of situations like this, the team wouldn't ask for a ton in a prospect haul because they'd want to unload the salary.
Right.
The Angels are weird because they're a big market, but like Artie Moreno is a complete wild card. And he's also just the unquestioned face of the franchise, like franchise history. So I don't think you can just dump that salary. You'd have to give up something valuable.
How about Ralphie Velasquez, Cooper Ingle?
Okay.
Well, they traded for Patrick Bailey. Which I don't love, but anyway, we'll get that in a second. Ingle, Velasquez, and then who's their best pitching prospect right now? It's not even coming to me. They don't really have a top pitching prospect at the moment.
Cal Steven, the guy they got from Bieber, for Bieber.
Okay.
Or do you want to go younger? Joey Oakey is a top 100 guy who's in A-ball, I think.
I'll be honest, I never even heard of Joey Oakey. I'm gonna keep it real. I never heard of him. Whatever. I'll give it either one of those guys with Ingle and Velasquez.
Okay.
I don't know if that's enough for the Angels, but
It's just a hard. It's
it's a hard
tough.
trade.
It's like it's like what would the Guardians want for Jose Ramirez?
Right. It's an impossible task. All right, let's talk about Patrick Bailey a little bit because
Mhm.
I texted you when they made this trade. People got so mad at, it's so funny. Some people are out of their minds. I said when the Guardians made this trade, I didn't love it. I said I don't love and I know that I understand Tugboat is not a big prospect.
They can create another Tugboat.
I hear you, but I just didn't love giving up
Might be a
okay
sailboat.
prospect and a first-round pick for a guy who's a young Austin Hedges. I mean, that's what he is. I understand he's superb defensively. I get it. But he can't hit. He's never hit. He can't hit. He's not going to hit. And so now ultimately, does it make the major league team worse? No. Bo Naylor couldn't hit. But
my question to you is, I feel like you're looking at this from a long-term view.
Yeah, that's true. And that's what people
from a long-term view, I get it. Like you're still going to have the same, I don't know what Austin Hedges' future is. He's 33.
Yeah. And I also wanted Cooper Ingle to get a shot. And now.
Right. But I think that we talked about this, last week?
Yeah.
They
don't like him as a catcher. As a catcher, they don't.
Publicly they've said like, hey, he's made strides defensively, et cetera.
Yeah.
But like, I got the feeling that he was not in the plans for an immediate call up to play catcher. And Chris Antonetti didn't even rule out, like he said, right now we want him to stick at catcher.
Yeah.
And see where that goes. But he didn't rule out the fact that they could have him try out other positions to get his bat in the big leagues at some point later on. So to me, everyone's talking about the offense, and I'm like, well, have you looked at Bo Naylor's stats? Like that's what they were getting from Bo Naylor. So you're all you're doing right now in the short term, and like they've made aggressive move. Like, look, they have lowest payroll in baseball. It's inexcusable. It's pathetic. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
We've yelled about it forever. I give them credit. They put DeLauder on the opening day roster. They called up Travis Bazzana in April.
Yeah.
And they have made a trade. They kicked Bo Naylor to the curb.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't see the path. I've heard people be like, okay, well, he'll come back.
No, he's done.
Yeah, I don't see the path back. I wouldn't even be shocked if he never makes it to Columbus because some other team has an injury and says, hey, we'll give you a bag of balls for Bo Naylor.
Yeah.
And they
he's
say,
done.
Okay.
They wouldn't have made this trade if he wasn't done.
Right. So what you're doing is you're taking like the offense is a wash, but you're upgrading defensively and you're hoping that he improves your pitching staff. That's the key. So if you get a little boost to your pitchers, that's a win in the short term. Now, look, next year we might be saying, hey, you need to pair him with a catcher who can hit. And maybe that's Cooper Ingle. Who knows? Yeah. But for right now, I'm not like trying to say this is the greatest trade ever. It's whatever. It's fine. It's weird. The timing is strange, but like I get it. And I give them credit for saying, you know what, Bo, we've given you 15 chances to have a breakout at the plate and it hasn't happened. So we got to move on.
A week later, I'm fine with the deal after my initial reaction because you're right. I was thinking long term, maybe it hurts them. Who knows? But it doesn't hurt the major league club right now. If anything, I agree. There's a slight upgrade there. So, and more than a slight upgrade defensively.
They need to, it's fine as long as they are aggressive pinch hitting, right? Like David Fry got off to a slow start. He's been pretty good overall. His OPS is 821. That's great. Then Bailey should never bat, and Hedges, who's cooled off, should probably not bat. If they come up to the plate in the 7th inning in a close game and there's guys on base, that's when you deploy, whether it's Fry or somebody, a pinch hitter, because you have 3 catchers on the roster. One of them definitely can't hit. One of them I still think probably can't hit. And one of them can. So leverage that to your advantage.
Agreed. It makes a lot of sense. And as the rest of the lineup is improving, if you do have, every team's got one guy that's not very good, or almost every team. So I'm not as down. But when I said I didn't love the trade, you thought I would have said this is the dumbest trade in the history of baseball. The way people reacted, some people were like, "If the Browns made this move, you would have loved it." And I'm thinking, have you actually heard me on the air? I'm a million times more complimentary of the Guardians outside of payroll than I am on the Browns. But people are out of their minds. Let's get a couple of comments from the fans. Let's see. B Skrills, Guardians have to take advantage, especially with the White Sox now over 500. Also, just heard the news about Cal Raleigh. Yeah, he's on the injured list. He was having a terrible season. I told my buddy, even though we're in a fantasy league together, he was like, I'm thinking about taking Cal Raleigh in the first round. I said, I certainly don't get everything right because I took Logan Webb in like the third round and he's been terrible. But anyway,
maybe the Mariners call and ask for Bo Naylor to partner him with his brother again.
Yeah, that's actually a good fit. But I was like, Cal Raleigh is not going to have as good a year this year. He was way overachieved. He's always been a good player, but that was just another level. There was no way. I didn't think he'd be this bad. But anyway, Mark says Guardians should take 2 of 3 at least. John says, really enjoy your coverage of the Guardians. Would like to hear comments on the entire league once or twice a week. All right, maybe I'll do that in another podcast or whatever. Mark says, if the team wasn't playing average baseball, they'd be running away with the division.
I just feel like they've gotten their own way. Like they've had a number of games where, over the weekend against the Twins, they kept loading the bases and couldn't get runs home.
Yeah.
And then they had a few games earlier this year where it was just, that game in St. Louis with Burrito's error and things like that. That's why I feel like there's a good team in there. And
I agree.
They need to unlock it.
Sven Reek, have you guys seen how bad Tatis Jr. has been? Yes, because I took him with my first round pick. He's got a lot of stolen bases, but he hasn't hit a home run. He hasn't a single home run. A stupid pick by me there. I advised somebody else and took bad advice for myself. Adam, what is it you like with sardines and cream cheese on a bagel? Sardines and cream cheese on a bagel. Again, I'm not eating that anymore, but I love it. It's one of my
What favorites. Are you eating these days?
I eat ground turkey, fish, a little chicken, low-fat cottage cheese, fruits and veggies, beans. I make homemade popcorn and eat it one kernel at a time.
What do you miss? Anything?
At the moment, no, I don't miss anything. I have the only thing that I want, I guess the only thing I miss a little is pizza. That's really it. The idea of eating anything fried or eating, as much as I love Mitchell's, the idea of eating ice cream right now is very unappealing. I just hit 70 pounds down, so I'm down to, I was 360 and now I'm 290. And obviously I want to lose at least another 70. So I'm at least halfway. I might lose or almost halfway, or we'll see. I want to lose at least another 70, maybe as much.
And remind me, the end goal here is to race Tyvis. Is that what you said?
That would be sweet, right? Yeah, I don't. By the way, my son apparently, Dustin told me, so my son in school had to run the mile, right? And he doesn't do track or anything. Like all his buddies are on the middle school track team, and he didn't want to do it because he's busy with baseball and swimming. But we did at one of our first practices for baseball, I had all the kids run from home to first and around the bases completely, and I timed them. And he honestly surprised me a little bit. He had the best time around the bases on our team. He's the youngest kid on our baseball team, even though he's the second tallest kid on the baseball team.
So where are those genes coming from?
I have no idea. But, well, that's not true, because as a kid, before I got fat, I was actually like somewhat fast as a a middle schooler, really more elementary school. By the time I was in his age in the 7th grade, I was starting to get a little bigger, but he is skinny as a rail. So he ran the mile in school and ran a 6:29 mile. And I was like, I don't have any clue if is that good for a kid about to turn 13. So I asked Dustin, because obviously he knows plenty about running, and he said that was very good. And that's with no training at all. So I have no idea if this is something. I'm not saying he's going to be an Olympic athlete or anything, because it's not that level. But maybe it's something he might get interested now in, because now he wants to be on the track team next year.
Might have to get some scouts out there.
Yeah, let's go. Let's see his short, fat dad, and then they'll be like, how did this kid learn how to run so fast?
I don't want to launch into a I could rant about this for an hour.
Yeah.
So they're doing the 2016 reunion tonight.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from Brandon Geyer coming into town. Yeah.
Yeah. There's about 20 guys, and I sat down with Rajay Davis. We talked about the home run and the complicated legacy of it. Like I actually got in a pretty heated argument with a media member earlier this week about it. I'm curious on your perspective, given your complicated feelings about those two teams in that time. You know, he's got blinders on, like Rajay says, and of course it was his moment. Like, he says people don't bring up the fact that we lost and they just remember that moment for what it was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in Cleveland who say, I don't care about that home run. I don't want to see that bobblehead tomorrow night. I don't like Cleveland lost. And so that doesn't mean anything. Where do you stand?
Obviously it's hard from my perspective. To me, it's meaningful and was a great moment in time, but not nearly as meaningful. If like a neutral baseball fan does not remember that moment, right?
Yeah.
But you remember Joe Carter's home run, which is a lot longer ago, if you're a neutral baseball fan in the World Series, right? Like you remember that because they won the game. Obviously, that was a walk-off, but if the Indians at the time would have won that game, that would be one of the most historic home runs in the history of the sport. And it's not, even though at the moment in time, it was huge. So again, I'm trying to put myself in the perspective. So I'll try to think of like, it's not the World Series, but I remember in 1984 when the Cubs went to the playoffs for the first time in my lifetime. I was a kid, and I remember in the first game of the NLCS against the Padres, Rick Sutcliffe, the pitcher who was the Cy Young that year, even though he didn't come to the Cubs till May, hit a home run in the playoffs. And I still to this day remember that moment fondly, but not the same because they lost the series ultimately.
Yeah.
I think more about the ball going through Leon Durham's legs or the Bartman play more than I think of the Sutcliffe homer.
So my argument to this unnamed media member was, first of all, let people remember things fondly. Like, let people enjoy things. Right?
He gets annoyed that people remember it fondly?
Like, why are we bringing this guy back? And does he need another bobblehead? By the way, Rajay even said this is the first bobblehead he's ever had.
Yeah, that's also. I totally disagree with that.
Yeah,
I totally disagree with that. Yeah.
Why do we keep talking about the home run? Like, the thing is, in that singular moment, it is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen on a baseball field.
I agree.
Because of, it's not just the home run. Like, he hits a home run, he ties the World Series in the 8th inning. It's insane. You got to think about the context. These are the two teams with the longest World Series droughts in the league, and they're long droughts.
Yeah.
Also, it's Rajay Davis against Aroldis Chapman.
Yes.
At the peak of his powers, right?
Yeah.
You got Rajay choking up on the bat like crazy. You've got, like, it was, I mean, Rajay even said, like, it was David versus Goliath. I was David. Yes. And so and like, everybody remembers where they were. I've talked to a bunch of players from that team already this year about it. And, you know, Cody Allen remembers going nuts in the dugout and then reining it in because he's like, oh God, I'm still pitching. I got to pitch the ninth. I can't lose all this energy. You know, Dan Otero is climbing the fence that separates the bullpen and the outfield. Lonnie Chisenhall, his legs are shaking and he thinks he's going to faint. And like, everybody has a story to tell. They remember that moment so vividly. Just let it be. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can cherish that memory, and no one says, like, you don't have to just completely wipe it out of your brain because of what unfolded after. And I think, like, it's okay to separate the two and have multiple strong thoughts or feelings about things. But it's interesting what you said, because the piece ends, you go check it out on The Athletic. I wrote it's up this morning, but I even wrote, like, if Cleveland had won the 2016 World Series, I said that home run would be immortalized by fans in and out of Cleveland.
100%.
And instead, it's got a complicated legacy just here.
That's perfectly said. It's 100% right. I completely agree with what you're saying in your argument with this other person. His attitude about it, like so negative, is stupid. I don't understand. And why would you begrudge fans for being excited about Rajay and being excited about that moment? Because if the Guardians are your favorite team, that moment, even though it didn't last, unfortunately, long enough, was one of the greatest moments in your sports life.
Yeah, and also, like, do you have any Browns memories then? They haven't won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Like, am I supposed to wipe out everything that Cleveland the Indians, Guardians have done since
Right.
1948? Like,
exactly. There's been
yeah.
great moments. You've had, what about the 90s Indians teams? We talk about those teams all the time. We talk,
Nope,
oh
sorry.
my God, that
Doesn't count.
lineup. We can't be excited about any of those moments because they
No.
never won a World Series. That's stupid.
Lofton stealing or scoring from second base on the
Yeah.
pass ball in 95, but you're not
Right.
allowed to think about that because of
Yeah,
they lost the next series.
Yeah. And even in the regular season, the comeback against the Mariners. Yeah, that I completely disagree with that. But I think Cleveland fans have it in a proper perspective, because it's a great moment in what ended in disaster a couple hours later. Finally, from Buki, Ohio, a super chat, taking my wife to her first game today. It's also her birthday. Happy birthday, Rachel. There you go. Happy birthday, Rachel. First game.
Downtown's gonna be nuts.
It's going to be crazy between the Cavs and the Guardians. They're playing at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Basically the same time. If an adult goes to a game for the first time, do you fill out one of those things that the kids do?
The certificate?
The little certificate for the first game. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We'll be back next Friday, of course, with the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian Show. And in 42 minutes, I'll be on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We'll talk. It'll be Jason Lloyd, myself, and Mikey McNuggets.
Drive fast. Make sure you
I live in Rocky River.
Catch the express lane on 90.
Yeah, right. No, because you can't get on. You have to get on that right before I get on there. But it's fine. It only takes me 14 minutes. It's great. Obviously, good luck to the Cavs tonight. I will be on UCSS with Jason Lloyd and Mikey. We'll talk obviously about the Cavs, the Browns schedule, and the Guardians starting their series with with the Reds. And then tonight, I'll be on live on my podcast following Game 6, hopefully. And then I'll be on live Sunday after either Game 7 or Game 1 against the Knicks. Hopefully.
Also, good luck to the Avon Little League Blue Rocks, my son Charlie's first career T-ball game tonight.
Oh, nice. That's exciting. You probably can't be involved in coaching because you probably don't have the time to do it. But
no, I'll be there. My wife is actually the assistant coach.
Look at that. Is she playing like softball or something, or no? She's just volunteer.
No, she just got suckered into it.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, good luck. I like that.
Yeah, it's great. I ordered a hat, a shirt. Because they're like the Wilmington Blue Rocks.
Yeah.
A-ball, I think. So, yeah.
I almost got a job with the Wilmington Blue Rocks 100 years ago. I tried. I failed. Well, what are you going to do? All right, we'll talk to you next time. Where else but right here on the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian Show. I can't believe that we did almost 50 minutes.